is in the studio to talk about his latest book. What is this, like your seventh book?
It is. You're right on the money. Number 7.
So see, I do know a little bit. His latest book is Dear Queen, an ode to women. I could not think of a better time, more apropos than what has taken place over the last weekend. But Eddie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
It's
Karen.
nice when we get superstars in the studio.
Listen, you the superstar for sure. And
No, I'm just the man sitting next to you. That's all. But
you
thank
are the
for
queen.
But no, I want to be princess. Queen is old. Let me be princess.
Well, you put a new school. The reason I say queen, let me
Okay,
say this. The
okay.
reason I say queen because I got to say you're quintessentially unique, empowering everyone naturally.
Acronyms
That's
going
there we
on.
go,
All
there
right.
we go.
Well, first of all, tell us a little bit about who you are, Dr. Eddie Conner. Tell us just a little bit of background. Certainly people do know the name, but who is Dr. Eddie Conner?
You know, Dr. Eddie, myself, I'm from the east side of Detroit, a guy who was
Then you were already at the top of my list.
Warren and Connor represent.
Oh, okay.
Connor
Good
on
deal.
Connor.
Uh-oh.
That's the ER. I'm the OR though. You know, I'm a son of the city who has overcome a number of different obstacles, especially as a survivor of stage 4 cancer as a teenager, and really to find the redirection of my life. You know, a lot of people didn't think I'd amount to anything in high school with the odds stacked against me. But I'm somebody who loves my community. I want to contribute to see people grow and birth their purpose and become who they were supposed to be when they were created. And so I love people. I love empowering people, and that is through my story that you can make it, that you can overcome the odds despite any situation stacked against you.
All right. So how old are you, Eddie?
You know, I like to say this. I'm older than LeBron James, younger than Denzel Washington.
Okay, you got them both beat, but that's another story. We have to save that for a Fall Through Friday.
You know, black don't crack and brown won't let you down. So,
I have to get a fist bump on that one.
because you are forever 21 yourself. So.
I'll take that, even if I've been there a couple times. I'll take it. I will take it. But Eddie, let's talk about some of your books in the past before we get to this one. Certainly, like I said, after what has taken place over this past weekend, I think this is more apropos than ever. But some of your other books, like you said, designed to empower and encourage others, weaving your story into those. Give me just some of your past titles.
Yeah, some of my past titles. My first book was Purposefully Prepared to Persevere. I wrote that as a college student, really with a doll and a dream in my name. And I never wanted to be a writer, but my mother said, you got to write your story. You know, it's going to be therapeutic for you, but also help somebody else. My second book, a collection of reflections, a 3-volume set of poetry. Third one, Econ the Icon, From Pop Culture to President Barack Obama. My fourth one, what was that? That's Heal Your Heart. And really, you can't really deal with a situation until you can't really heal from it until you deal with it. My one after that, Unwrap the Gift in You. Next one's My Brother's Keeper, and then of course this one, Dear Queen.
All right, so let's talk about this one. Certainly after international women's marches, not just in D.C., but in sister marches around not only the country but around the world, women seem to be coming back to the forefront.
Absolutely.
And so let's talk about your book.
Yes, you know, I think it's very, very apropos. And Dear Queen, you know, we're on Facebook Live, we're on Instagram Live, all that. We're on 9:10 a.m. Superstation. Really is, this has been endorsed by Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, who is one of the premier thought leaders in America, especially as an African-American male, and really empowering queens. As we've come off such a negative political rhetoric, divisive, racist,
Keep going.
misogynistic, rhetoric that really diminishes the value of women across the world. And I'd been writing this book even prior to the campaign, and really to see how it just reared its ugly head. And I said, I got to put something together for the sisters, the ones who are building their brand, developing themselves, loving themselves, knowing their worth, seeing their greatness, and recognizing that you have to wear your crown. Despite people want to put you down, despite the negative that is stacked against you, despite the heartbreak and the heartache and even the tears, the testimony is coming out of that. And so this was really on my heart. I really wanted to unlock the great jewel that is on the inside of people, and understand, our sisters, your royalty deserves loyalty.
The big thing that I always find is that the challenge is rooted in the lack of self-esteem. So,
Absolutely.
Life pushes you down, and sometimes people don't feel like they have anything to bring them back up. Is that what you find in those women who do hold their head up so that they don't drop their crown, that it's centered in self-esteem? And how do they keep replenishing that self-esteem?
Yes, absolutely. I really find that it is in self-esteem. You know, you look at the word self-esteem, it begins with self. And oftentimes we look for validation on the outside to confirm who we are on the inside. You know, a lot of times we try to accumulate a lot of valuables to replace the value that we're deficient and deficit in. And so I really encourage, you know, our sisters to find that strength. But how do you find it when you didn't get that in the home? When, you know, when your father wasn't there to validate you, when you may have had a rocky relationship with your mother, when people have put you down based on how you look, based upon a negative media stereotype that says all women have to look a certain way and have a certain look based on westernized, standardized view of what beauty is. And so beauty comes from the inside, recognizing your value, finding that you have to move through the trash of what you've been through to find the treasure that's been locked inside you all along. And so coming from that to empower people through their pain, to see that, you know what, as long as you have a pulse, you have a purpose. And you have to live with purpose, live on purpose, and for a purpose, because something great is coming out of your story.
If you're just tuning in, we're talking to Dr. Eddie Conner. He is a college professor, international speaker, and CEO of the literacy organization Boys to Books. I want to talk about that as well. Part of his story is that he has survived stage 4 cancer. He's a best-selling author of 7 books, including My Brother's Keeper and Heal Your Heart, and his latest book, which is Dear Queen, an ode to women. He has been, you know, you got to add the Pulse on here now because you got all this other stuff. He's been on BET, CBS, Fox, NBC, PBS, the Steve Harvey TV show, the Tom Joyner Show, and the Pulse with Karen Dubas.
There you go.
We need to add that.
That comes first.
Yeah, well, whatever. You just need to put that on there. He's also a recipient of the President's Volunteer Service Award from the White House under President Barack Obama.
That's right.
He grew up in Kingston, Jamaica. I'm headed there next month.
Okay.
And as a resident of Detroit, Michigan. You can also learn more about him by visiting Eddie Conner. Take the other side of this. What qualifies you to talk about women?
You know what qualifies me to talk about?
Now, don't tell me you just dated a lot of women and all that. I don't want to hear that. I want to know. You can tell us the truth. I won't tell anybody.
You know, I have to say, I grew up in a home where a queen raised me.
Okay.
You know, a queen raised me, my mother,
like the
Dr.
cover.
Janice Conner. Thank you so much. To respect women, to know who you are, to be a gentleman. You know, I remember times my mother would say, hey, I'm not walking through this door till you better grab it, you better open it for me.
Right.
You know, because how you treat her is how you're going to treat another one. And so understanding even as a quote that suggests no nation can rise higher than its women. And I saw my mom rise to higher heights, helping me as a teacher of 30 years, special education, coming home, helping me raise myself and my brother, even the negatives of what I had to go through with cancer. Mm-hmm. You know, that's a queen. You know, when society tries to bring you down, when she had little, but she took the little she had and made much out of it, she created something from nothing. That's nothing but a queen. And so I had to write, of course, an ode to her, but also an ode and a conversation and gratitude to women across the world.
So do you think women, because of our strength, you know, because, you know, we run companies, we hold families together, we maintain community connections, we do all these things, do you think women are just in general taken for granted?
Absolutely. You know, society kind of engenders the whole fact that as a woman, as a mother, you're supposed to be there. You know, you're supposed to do this. You're supposed to wear 10 hats. You know, that just comes with the territory of who you are. The hand that rocks the cradle doesn't always rule the world, though, and doesn't always get the love that they deserve and the nurturing and the respect and the admiration that they give. Women give so much. I mean, I saw something on social media the other day. A man, you know, gets the flu and we're bedridden.
I saw that too. Man. It's like, okay, you just have to keep going.
Absolutely. But a woman says, hey, you know, worse could be happening. She'll brush her shoulders off. She'll put a Louboutins on and keep it moving.
Keep it moving. We are talking with Dr. Eddie Conner, international motivational speaker and author, college professor, and talking about his latest book, Dear Queen. Who should read this book? Because you talked about, you know, the standard that your mom set of expectation, the fact that she taught you to be a gentleman and respect the value of women. Who should read this book?
If you're born female or male, No, I'll bring it in because everybody always says hone in on the niche, and that would be especially our millennial sisters, our millennial women in America who are, really at a great opportunity to build their brand, their business, not chase a man but chase a plan, and define themselves not according to the standards of society, but according to your purpose, according to what God has placed on the inside of you, so that you can unlock the door to your destiny and begin to walk in purpose.
So how do people, and I'm just, I'm thinking about the conversations that I have and things that people ask and say, how do you quiet the external noise so that you can hear what you are telling yourself about who you are and what you should be and what you want to be?
I think you have to find that time to mute the chaos and the negativity around you and the opinions of other people so you can really begin to hear your true voice within. And that may be you have to power down your phone. You have to find some quiet time. You may need to write. May need to meditate. You may need to go into your prayer room or your prayer closet to be able to hear that voice within. Because a lot of times we'll go to the phone before we go to God's throne. We'll look to hear from other people to validate, should I move this way? People are going to talk about you whether you succeed or fail. But you have to decide and make up a purpose in your mind to say, guess what, I'm going to go for it. No matter how many times I fail, no matter how many times I stumble, get knocked down, I'm going to get back up again. And that makes my story greater. Because based on how many times I've been broken is how many pieces of myself I have to give to other people.
Just tuning in, we are talking to Dr. Eddie Connor. He's a college professor, international speaker, and CEO of the literacy organization Boys to Books. We're talking about his latest literary artwork creation called Dear Queen. It's an ode to women. Are you going to be speaking about this book anywhere soon?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm headed all across the country. I'll actually be in Utah.
Really?
Going to Salt Lake Community College next week.
Okay.
I'll be at a church this Sunday and doing other radio shows and things of that nature. So the movement.
There are other radio shows?
Well, you know what? Outside of this one, it's second tier.
God, I'm telling you. But that's good, though. I mean, and that's a good thing.